Hello, welcome to the Film Obsessed Couple. I'm Shelly.
And I'm Destroyed Voice Scott.
Oh, we appreciate you choosing us to listen to. Scott and I are a married couple obsessed about movies. Scott is more analytical, while I'm a little bit more open minded. We're unscripted and unfiltered, which means things will get a little wild and crazy, so you better buckle up.
Yeah. Yeah, we go off the rails in here. Destroyed Voice Scott is Destroyed Voice today because a friend of mine was in town last night and we got to hang out and see each other. After we went to dinner, we went to a bar across the street, which was the worst idea because you can't talk in bars. There was music going on and I was basically yelling at the top of my voice. So I don't know if you can tell here, but if people are like, whoa, he sounds different, there you go.
That's it.
I was in a bar last night screaming at my friend trying to catch up on how he's doing.
I was at home sitting on the couch.
Yeah. But, today we're going to talk about the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Absolutely, from 1993.
Yeah, I was 5 when it came out. And I'm not going to ask you. Now, you said you maybe had seen this before?
I have. I actually remember I was a big Super Mario Brothers fan. It's kind of my era. So I remember probably my mom and I went and watched this movie because I was around that age.
Yeah, wow.
In the theaters. And I really liked John Leguizamo
Really?
at that time.
Yeah. Probably the same. I remember watching it when I was a kid. I think this was a big rental. I'd rent this a bit and watch it. And I remember liking it, but this time we watched it, we were both checking our watches.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it was just because I was young, but I remember not really associating this with Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they don't get those suits until like an hour into the movie.
Yeah, I'm just like, this isn't giving me that vibe.
No, I was just reading the trivia before we started this, and they wanted like a very serious take on the Mario Brothers, which is just a bad idea. Like if it's a movie that's like based on something that's more associated with kids, I think it's a really bad idea to be like, let's make it super gritty.
Yeah.
Make it super realistic. Like this is what dinosaurs would really be doing. It doesn't work.
It doesn't.
So, I mean, I think I kind of mentioned it to you before, but Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo as Mario and Luigi, respectively, hate this movie. Bob Hoskins, before he passed away, gave multiple interviews over the years of how he thought this was the worst movie he ever did. So did Dennis Hopper, who plays King Koopa. He was just like,
Oh, yes.
there's an interview where he was like, oh, I was supposed to come in and do 3 weeks, and the directors had me there for 17.
Holy cow.
And apparently there's the biggest problem that all these people complained about were the directors. It was a husband and wife team. I don't know if they had directed movies before, but apparently they would make decisions before talking to each other about how the movie should go,
Not good.
which would cause confusion and arguments. And the script of the movie was being rewritten daily to the point to where they said the actors wouldn't even like read the new pages.
Jeez.
They're just like, who cares? Like none of this matters.
That's rough.
And apparently it got so bad to the point where it said Dennis Hopper yelled at the directors for like 3 hours one day on set.
Wow.
He got so tired of it.
I would too. I mean, that is not. I'm surprised it came out halfway decent. I mean, it's bad, but it's not like the worst movie I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, who's to say? I mean, the trivia also says the director at one point was like, well, the studio kept changing it. Like, when we signed on to do it, it was going to be this lighthearted kids movie, and then the studio's like, we want it to be like a gritty, kind of realistic movie. So the movie we were then forced to make was nothing that anybody that signed on to make wanted. But
I see. It's got to be somebody's fault.
it's somewhere. I bet it's somewhere in between. But if you ask the actors, the directors are the ones who were the problem.
Yeah.
All the actors.
Goodness.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of loosely based on Mario. I mean, I don't have much experience with the older Marios. I played the original Mario Brothers for the original Nintendo. My dad was a big fan of that. And then I played Super Mario World, which came out in 1990 for the Super Nintendo. And I played the hell out of that game. So apparently there are references to other games in here, so you'll have to forgive me. I mean, I played Super Mario 3 for a bit, but like the dinosaurs being in another dimension is from one of the Super Mario games that were out at the time.
Okay.
So, sure.
I didn't pay that much attention. I just like playing the game.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just like a go in blank page and don't really do anything but have fun.
Yeah, I mean, the story really, you could always just sum it up as like, oh, Princess Peach has been kidnapped and you gotta find her.
Hmm.
And sometimes she's gonna be in this castle and, sometimes she's not.
And I was like, how come she's not in a pink dress?
Well, this isn't Princess Peach in this one, it's Princess Daisy.
Oh, that's why.
Which, if I remember right, in the games, she has a yellow dress,
Oh, well, see, something was wrong.
which she doesn't wear in this, yeah. I wonder why they didn't have Peach in this. She's like the more recognizable.
Oh,
Huh, I didn't see anything on the trivia of that.
whatever.
But apparently, the creator of Super Mario was like, oh, I enjoyed the Luigi and Daisy relationship so much that in future games it's been referenced that they are dating.
Mm.
So, I guess that's one good thing to come out of it.
All right.
But I have played the more recent ones. I loved Super Mario 64. I played the Mario Galaxy, Super Mario Sunshine, like, the more recent kind of ones, that Galaxy and stuff. But yeah, there's some blind spots in the very older Mario games.
Mm-hmm. What did I call this company that's...
So there's a production company that came on the screen, and it's called Light, and Shelly was like, Leitmotiv. And I'm like, that's Leitmotiv. You're like, oh.
like, who's Leitmotiv?
That's actually a pretty sweet name, though. I don't know how you would spell that, but
Leitmotiv.
yeah, Light, and then MOE, and then
Oh, yeah.
TIVE. But yeah,
we'd have to do that.
that's a pretty sweet name for a company or something. Leitmotiv. I mean, we could just get the basics out, but basically, it starts off with like a very shitty kind of animation, which Homer Simpson's voice actor, Dane Castellaneta, doing the voice narration here, talking about, oh, the dinosaurs ruled, and surprisingly, they were in Brooklyn 65 million years ago. And,
Absolutely.
and they're like, what if the meteorite that killed the dinosaurs didn't really kill them, but just shifted them into an alternate dimension? And he's like, and what if they found a way back?
Oh, no.
Which, actually, you want to know, I think it was like a couple of weeks or like a month after this movie released. You know what other dinosaur movie came out and absolutely destroyed this one?
Land Before
Jurassic
Time?
Park.
Oh.
Let's try that again. Okay, you say Jurassic Park. You know what movie came out?
Jurassic.
Land Before Time. Why aren't we on the same page here?
Seems like we can direct a movie.
Yeah. No, Jurassic Park absolutely destroyed this movie.
Oh, I bet.
Because it's like, oh, you can get this movie where people kind of look like shitty dinosaurs, or you can actually see what dinosaurs probably really look like, or imagine what they look like. So the whole thrust of this movie is that, like, a baby, well, it says 20 years from where this movie takes place. 20 years ago, this baby is dropped off at this nun, like, orphanage.
That's what you do with babies.
Well, at first I thought this baby was just in like a basket because it's been a while since I've seen it. But when the nun opens this thing up, it's a gigantic egg.
It was like a futuristic basket
Yeah.
looking thing. And then, pop it open. And it's a freaking egg.
Yeah, because when they open up this thing, it's got like this like spaceship kind of pod thing. And they pull out like this crystal necklace. And the thing opens up and it's a gigantic egg.
I'm surprised they weren't like, hey, I know what we're having for breakfast.
I was just about to say that before it cracks open and a baby pops out, they should have been like showing the nuns like getting ready to crack it.
Yeah.
They're cooking like some bacon in the background.
This is going to be great.
But a baby pops out of this egg when it hatches, and you would think the nuns would be like, well, obviously this is from the devil.
Yeah.
There's a baby in an egg that just hatched in front of me. Well, her full name in the movie is Daisy Lucifer.
Yes.
You know, they came to a compromise. Some of the nuns were like, well, this is Lucifer's baby. And they're like, well, this is a pretty young girl. We'll call her Daisy Lucifer. We'll we'll haggle here and get to the middle. How about that?
That's what happens when you're not sure. Like everybody's kind of arguing on what to name
Yeah.
a baby. You just throw it in the middle name.
Yeah, and it's like, well, we'll watch her. If she shows signs of the devil, we'll kill her. If she's nice, we'll let her live.
Yeah.
Maybe. We'll see how it goes.
I mean, luckily, it seems like she was okay.
But this person that has dropped her off, which we find out later is the queen of the Mushroom Kingdom, which we don't really hear the name of, I think, until the very end. But, Queen of the Mushroom Kingdom, played by the same actress that plays Daisy.
Oh, I guess I didn't notice that.
Yeah, you see her for like a couple of seconds when she's running away. The queen is running and she goes underneath the tunnel in New York. She's down there with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But she comes down to like where we later find out is a portal to the other side. We see King Koopa. Well, not King yet, but we see he looks like Colonel Koopa because he's got like a military uniform on with all these like badges on his chest.
Okay.
Come out and he's like, "Where is the rock?"
Oh yeah.
And the whole thing caves in and presumably kills the queen, and King Koopa, like we find out, escapes. So I'm like, what's the backstory here? We never find out that like Koopa was the head of the military and staged a coup or something like that.
I guess it just left open to the imagination.
Yeah. Oh yeah, people spend countless hours thinking about this movie, that's for sure. We now meet the Mario brothers, which I think it's this movie where you find out, and the creator of Mario later confirmed that yes, their last name is Mario. So it's Mario, and Luigi Mario.
Which, okay, at first I thought, okay, they're brothers.
Mm-hmm.
But then it comes out later that Hoskins raised Leguizamo.
Yeah, I think they're still brothers, but there's this story or something where like their parents are missing and he raised them when they were kids.
Okay.
And they were supposedly like a cut subplot or something, or no, like one of the original scripts. Script number 405 was supposed to be about how they are brothers, and they have no family, but they come to realize that they are family. They're the best thing for each other.
I see. I mean, I get it. I just thought that I guess they weren't related, but they ended up kind of bonding together.
Yeah, no, they are supposed to be related. Which
Okay.
I mean, Bob Hoskins is an English actor. I think he is probably the best in this movie.
Yeah, he was great.
I really love Bob Hoskins, and I think he was a great choice for Mario for this movie.
Dennis Hopper, I thought he did good too. I didn't like his character,
Yeah.
but I thought he played him well, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Now, Dennis Hopper I really liked. He's kind of weird. He's been in weird movies. Like, he did Easy Rider, which was kind of like a hippie taking drugs movie, riding motorcycles.
Yeah, I totally know that movie.
Yeah. But he's good. He's good at playing villains. I mean, I was thinking of his character in Waterworld, where he kind of plays this over the top kind of villain too. But yeah, he's pretty funny.
Yeah, and his voice. He's got this distinct voice that I really like.
Yeah, he's really great. I can't remember which song it is, but there's an album by the Gorillaz, and he narrates a song. He narrates while they play music over it, and it's really good.
Nice.
But yeah, he plays King Koopa. But I think Bob Hoskins is good. He's got the mustache. He's doing his kind of Who Framed Roger Rabbit voice here.
Yeah.
Yeah, what we gonna do here?
Yeah.
A little bit of trivia here. John Leguizamo, who is I think he's Puerto Rican. We'll just say Latino man. He gave some shit to the animated Mario Brothers movie that came out a few years ago. They cast Charlie from It's Always Sunny to be Luigi's voice, and John Leguizamo was not happy, saying, "Oh, they're not going to cast a Latino character." I'm like, they're Italian in the game. If anything, you're the outlier here. But I mean, like you were funny when I was a kid in it, but he's not a Puerto Rican Italian or like a Latino person.
Maybe he just felt like he should have been the voice.
Yeah, but still, it's like, that movie's not very well looked upon. But, yeah. So we get some grab ass, which I forgot how long it takes for us to get to the other world. We're in Manhattan for quite some time.
We are.
But there's this whole plot of, like, they've got this villainous company, the Scapelli brothers, that are fucking beating them on jobs and stuff as they're trying to get to. And Luigi just wants to lay around playing video games all day, and they keep losing jobs to the Scapelli brothers, which I guess Scapelli is a plumbing company and also a like construction company because it's the same company that's trying to demolish this dino dig site that Daisy's working on.
Yeah, they kind of do a little of everything. It
Sure,
seems like.
sure.
Yeah.
It's like Queen City here. I don't know if you people know, but they control everything. They do our trash, but if you drive around, it's like, oh, Queen City Recycling, Queen City.
Yeah, we have a little joke.
This is absolutely not true, but we joke that they are the mafia.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, they dabble in everything.
Just a joke, okay?
Yeah. Don't come
go
after us,
crazy.
Queen City. It was just a joke we had driving around because I was like, oh, there's Queen City Daycare. Oh, there's Queen City Construction. There's Queen City Diapers.
Jewelry.
Yeah.
I think there is a jewelry store, Queen City Jewelry.
I was like, oh, how funny would it be if they're the mafia and they have the monopoly on everything in the town?
But you listening there, don't go
Yeah,
crazy.
well, it's always a joke that the trash, the recycling business is mafia run. Waste management, as they said on The Sopranos. But yeah, this Scapelli, they have, they're kind of in everything because that's Daisy's story. Is she is like a college student that is digging on Brooklyn. They found dinosaur bones, and they're digging there, and Scapelli is trying to get them out so he can build this building he is contracted to do.
Yes, which is funny because okay, this is a little maybe jumping ahead. But you thought Dennis Hopper was kind of like a
Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Well, he's got the hair. I mean, the hair is kind of like blonde-ish, pushed back.
But I really thought one of the Scapelli guys, the main Scapelli guy,
Well, why did you think that?
because he was orange. And he had goons.
I don't know how orange Trump was in the 90s. That may have been a late thing, but he very well might have.
And this is just my opinion. I don't
Yeah.
I'm not bashing anybody, but
But-
we all know.
Well,
the tan.
the IMDb did say, oh, Donald Trump may have been the inspiration for Koopa.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay. It's poisoned our world, you know? You can't help but look at like a big evil businessman and be like, oh, God, is that Trump?
I guess there's other places. I just don't want to be like come out for slander or whatever. Not that we're big enough to do anything.
These are all the opinions of the Film Obsessed couple.
Yes.
They do not reflect any businesses that we are associated with, which are none at the moment. But the Scapelli is like, we got to get this girl out of here, so they have some big plan that they're going to reenact. And basically, Daisy's trying to make some phone call, and she runs into the Mario brothers, who are trying to fix their van. Luigi, he's like a 30-year-old man or whatever, but he can't talk to women. Doing the Yeah. And Mario does the sweet talking here. He's like, oh, what my brother's trying to say is that we'll give you a ride. And, they do.
Yeah. She's like, at first she's like, I don't know. You guys look weird.
Yeah.
But then she's like, oh yeah, okay, sure.
Well, because you got John Leguizamo being like, how's it going? Do you like stuff? Oh, yeah, I like stuff. Your skin is so beautiful. What would it be like to wear it? She's like, oh, and he's like, well, what my brother means is that he would like to take you out to a nice dinner.
Oh, I didn't get that. Okay.
When he says eat your face, he means eat a plate of spaghetti.
Spaghetti, because we're Italian.
Yeah. And they end up taking her back to the dig, and they do go out to dinner later that night. And it's a double date. I didn't think it was going to be a double date at first, but it's Mario and his girlfriend and Luigi and Daisy.
Yeah.
But they find out that Daisy is, adopted at this point. She has this gigantic rock, which this rock looks like it would be so uncomfortable to wear the whole time. It's gigantic.
Yeah, this is where was almost like, oh, me too.
Yeah, I think he was, the way that I understood it is I think he was like, oh, Mario don't have parents either. He raised me from a baby.
Okay. Well, I got something totally different.
Yeah, I know. It's very confusing. And it could be because when the script was written, they were just, cousins. Or it could be that he found Luigi on the streets and named him his brother.
Yeah.
But in this script, they are brothers whose parents abandoned them to be plumbers, I guess. I don't know.
Either way, it still comes the same at the end.
Yeah, see, we didn't get the scene where the parents of Mario and Luigi leave them on the steps of the orphanage next door to Daisy. It's a plumber's orphanage.
That's why. Yeah, we got some new apprentices.
They're like, okay, we could leave them at the doctor's orphanage or the plumber's orphanage. Well, we don't really care for these kids very much. How about the plumber's orphanage?
Plumbers.
And so Mario is like, oh, you guys go ahead. We'll go back to, I'll take my girlfriend home and we'll see you later. And so Luigi and Daisy like race back to the dig site.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like kids. Yeah, Luigi's like, I fucking beat you. I beat your ass. I buried you in the fucking ground. You fucking suck.
But this whole time, too, we have a couple of,
Yeah.
of guys looking at him. Iggy Koopa.
Spike and Iggy Koopa.
Yeah.
Which one of them is played by Fisher Stevens, who was on a previous episode of Short Circuit playing the Indian Ben.
Mm-hmm. Which we covered.
Yeah. But yes, you're correct. They are watching Daisy because we do get this kind of background story of like there's a bunch of missing girls in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Which, I'm surprised that's getting reported on. I thought that was every day.
No.
Just kidding. I don't know. I don't think we even went to Brooklyn while we were there, so I'm just kidding.
We were, yeah.
We did go to Brooklyn?
Yeah.
We crossed the Brooklyn Bridge.
Yeah.
What the fuck am I talking about? I just told Tom that story last night. I was like, yeah, we went into Brooklyn. Went to get some place for air conditioning, and they didn't have it.
And they didn't have it. It was miserable, but that's okay.
But, yeah, they're kind of watching from afar, being like, oh, this is the girl. Koopa's going to kill us if this isn't the right one this time.
And they're portrayed as kind of idiots.
They are very much idiots. I forget the other guy who is not Fisher Stevens has been in a bunch too.
Richard Edson.
Yeah, he's been in a ton. But yeah, they are scoping out women. And so when Mario takes his girlfriend back to her house, they kidnap his girlfriend, thinking that she is
Daisy.
Possibly the princess. Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the dig site, we see kind of what Daisy's been working on. It's this gigantic tunnel underneath. And Daisy has this very, very fucked up line when she's like, oh, I don't know about these tunnels, I like being in them. It just makes me feel like home. And I'm like, ooh.
That is weird.
Were you homeless at one point?
Mm. And when it shows the dinosaur that they're trying to dig up, it is a perfect dinosaur. Like all the bones are laid and, it's just like it was frozen right there.
Yeah, doesn't it have some like human characteristics as well? Where she was like, oh, it looks like it was trying to stand up or something.
Yeah. She said something like that.
It's got a hand.
Or it's got opposable thumbs.
Yeah. So there's like, what's going on here? So as they're down in the tunnels looking at stuff, we see two henchmen run out of a tunnel and they have destroyed like the plumbing in the area.
Mm-hmm.
And it's those goddamn Scapelli brothers.
Fuck them, man.
So, we kind of get the sense that Luigi is not a great plumber. He just knows the names of it because they go and get Mario.
Right.
And Mario does fix it. But the way that they work together is Mario's fixing it and he's like, give me the 7-wrench. 7-wrench, and he fixes it while Luigi hands him the shit.
Yeah, it definitely seems like Mario's the main plumber and Luigi is just there to help if he can.
Yeah, I think he says at some point, he's like, well, I'm his apprentice. Like, his what? His apprentice. Yes. As they're fixing the water, Spike and Iggy knock out Mario and Luigi and take Daisy.
Mm-hmm.
Mario and Luigi get back up. They follow them.
I did want to say, in this part, when they come in and knock him out,
Yeah.
you can tell that it's completely staged.
Yeah. It's
Like-
very cartoonish.
Yeah, it didn't feel natural. It was just kind of like, okay, Mario, Luigi, you stand right here and pretend you're turning this wheel to the pipes.
Yeah.
Keep looking ahead, straight forward, and then they come in and whap him in the head. It was not natural.
No, it's very staged. Yeah, for sure. It's like, okay, in 3, 2, 1, act like you've been hit. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They do follow them, and they lead down this tunnel and find, like, this rock wall that you can jump through because Daisy's face comes through it,
Yeah.
and it looks terrible. I mean, it's 1993, what do you want? But it looks bad.
I think it was supposed to look grainy like The Rock.
Yeah, I mean, Jurassic Park, like I said, same year, but this looks terrible.
Mm.
because there's a movie going and they have to get the story going. Mario and Luigi jump through it, and Mario jumps through and has like this acid trip of traveling in there and comes out the other side into basically hell. This place looks like hell.
Yeah, which that's really not explained. Like, why do you go through like this weird wormhole type thing?
Like you're supposed to be going through the layers of the earth or something. It looks like like magma or something in there. I don't know. Yeah, it's not explained to why it looks that way.
That's weird.
So an interesting interpretation of the Mushroom Kingdom. You read the game notes or something. It's like, oh, Mario takes place in the Mushroom Kingdom. You're like, okay, let's make it look like Manhattan with a bunch of goo and shit all over it. Like fungus is growing all out of this shit.
And it's just dirty.
Yeah.
Everything is just as dirty as dirt can be.
Rotting, fungus everywhere, slime. And you're like, what the fuck is this? But basically, I mean, Mario and Luigi are trying to find Daisy. They see that she has been put in like a cab. Another interesting design is that all these cars have they're like rail cars. They have rails coming out and they go up to this top and they all just like drive. They have like sparks flying out of them.
It kind of reminded me of bumper cars.
Bumper car, exactly. Which
is probably rail cars, the same thing, but
kind of, yeah. I don't know why they did that. I don't know what the design choice was. There's not really cars in the Mario Brothers movie.
No.
Or in the game.
Nope. It's weird.
To show you how shitty this place is, they get robbed by an old woman. She's just she's like, oh, you guys alone? Do you have a weapon? And they're like, no. She goes, all right. So she stabs him with this like shotgun. So this black woman her name in the movie is Bertha. She's a very tall woman, like towers over everybody. But she comes across this old woman, takes the rock from her because that's what the old lady stole. Is this what we find out is a meteorite piece? And jumps with her super boots across to the other side of the area.
That's crazy.
These boots have no like sense of gravity to them, because I guess they saw the game and were like, well, you can super jump in Mario, so how are we going to convey that in this movie? Well, let's make boots that push you and jump you super high, and when they jump, you just look like you're kind of like filing your nails, like waiting to land on the other side. You're like, oh, I landed on the other side. There's no like force pushing you or anything. It's like you're standing on a platform that's moving and you're just waiting for it to get to the other side almost.
It reads your mind on where you want to go.
Yeah, it's so silly because later in the movie when Mario and Luigi jump down, everyone's celebrating and they're like, yay, we did it. Woo! They're just standing there waiting to get to the ground, like taking an elevator.
Oh, yes. Oh, that was awful.
Well, this woman steals the meteorite. Mario and Luigi meet Toad, which in the game is the dude who has the big red and white dot hat.
Mm-hmm.
In this movie, he's Mojo Nixon, who is a singer in real life, and he's singing a protest song about Koopa, and the cops all come up and arrest him and arrest the Mario Brothers too, because Iggy and Spike have told Koopa that they were followed by plumbers.
No. So yeah, arresting all plumbers and anyone that's singing songs that are not Koopa approved.
Yeah, which another kind of Donald Trump, relation here is that there's tons of signs and billboards everywhere with Koopa's name on it, like Koopa brand, blah, 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 or Koopa wants you. And,
yeah.
Just like, damn, this does look like Trump to me.
Koopa with a baby.
Yeah. And, yeah, Iggy and Spike have, during this period, they have finally met Dennis Hopper as Koopa. And they're like, oh, we got the girl just like you said. And he's like, what about the meteor? And he's like, what? So he's pissed off and he's like, bring me any plumbers that you find. And wouldn't you know it, Mario's wearing his plumbing gear. He's got his wrenches and tools. So when the cops arrest Mojo Nixon, they take the Mario Brothers as well.
And they go and get booked.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a whole scene here where, of course, we get the whole thing of like, what are your names? And he's like, Mario and Luigi. Well, what are your last names? Mario, and Luigi, Mario. And he's like, well, how many Marios? Like was almost like, that's 3. It's Mario, and Luigi, Mario.
Very good.
Yeah. But yeah, they get booked. They get defungused, so they get like sprayed and shit,
Yeah.
and they get put in front of like a shooting gallery almost because all these guns pop out in front of them and like red dots come in front of their head. But surprise, surprise, they're just getting their mugshots taken.
Which I thought was kind of neat, but then it's like, why do you need 5 cameras
Yeah.
for a mugshot?
You're just getting coverage, making sure they get the photos, and get different angles, what they want.
Oh.
They're like, we got your mugshots, and it's like them. It'd be funny if it's them posing. Angle 1. Oh, angle 2. Look very nice.
They get to pick which one they want.
Yeah. So while they're waiting, they are in like these gigantic cages and talking to Mojo Nixon, and they're all like, what happened? And he's like, well, if in case you didn't get to see the opening narration here, this is an alternate dimension.
And the cages are like
Like dog cages.
like where you go and adopt a dog.
Yeah, they're like 30, not even like 50 to 100 feet high, filled with people.
Yeah, but worse, yeah.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, what? And he's like, well, King Koopa is the big guy around here. He's evil, and he does all this terrible shit. You better be careful. And so, and wouldn't you know it, the Mario Brothers get an attorney that wants to talk to them.
Oh, yeah.
But it is King Koopa.
Trying to pull one on him.
Which, we didn't mention it, but he does have this thing where Koopa has, like, OCD.
Oh, yes.
He doesn't like touching things, or if he does, he has to, like, he puts, like, his hands in mud.
Yeah.
And he says later, he's like, mud. It's clean, but it's dirty at the same time.
Yeah, he's definitely a germaphobe.
Yeah, he doesn't want to touch the Mario Brothers when he's in here, but he is pretending to be their lawyer, someone different. And, Koopa's all like, well, where's the rock at? And they're like, we don't know what rock. What rock are you talking about? Because he says, where's the meteorite? And they're like, what meteorite?
Yeah. They really have they're like, I have no clue what you're talking about.
Yeah, and it's so funny because Mario here is all like, I heard that, the way he does his accent is so funny. He's like, I heard that this Koopa is a real piece of shit. I heard he's a fucking asshole and no one likes him. And Koopa's like, yeah. He's like crying a bit. Like, yeah, I heard he fucking sucks.
Really? Have you heard anything nice?
No,
I like him?
No one likes him, and I heard he should fucking die.
Oh, man.
People are counting down the days. And he's like,
Everybody's going to get de-evolved.
Well, Koopa breaks here because he's like, God damn it, where's the meteorite piece? And he's like, I am Koopa, and you're going to fucking, get out. And he's like, we're going to keep you here. And so Koopa's so pissed off that he's like, that's it. We're going to devolve you all. He's like, I'm so pissed off that you won't tell me what I want.
Mm-hmm.
They take him into this chamber, and they do it to Toad first, but they strap him down in this chair, which goes back and, like, puts their head into this machine that can devolve them. Which we find out later that it also has the power to evolve you and make you smarter.
Yeah.
But they do it with Toad first, but they devolve, and the voice on the thing is very funny. He, like, switches it, and he goes, devolve. And he switches it to Cretaceous period. It's like, Cretaceous. My voice is shot. What do you want from me?
That's weird.
But they put Toad in there, and they devolve him, and he looks nothing like Toad anymore. He's just this big Goomba. These guys who are like 15 feet tall with tiny green heads.
Yeah, it's weird. I guess because he came from a dinosaur, it just kind of turns him back into a different looking dinosaur.
Yeah, this doesn't really make sense because they devolve Koopa here in a second, and he starts becoming more T-Rex. Because he explains it, and he's like, well, what were you evolved from, asshole? And he's like, oh, I was evolved from the Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Of course.
I guess there was a scene at the end where it was supposed to be Mario fighting, like, T-Rex Koopa on the Brooklyn Bridge at the end, but they were like, yeah, we've got no money. Like, this movie has gone so far over budget and over time, we've got no money.
I bet.
Yeah, they devolved Toad, and he, just so you will know who Toad is going forward, they put his harmonica back on him.
Yeah, so he can play music, but only approved music.
Yeah, but he's also, like, super happy. You can tell he's always smiling. The other ones are mean.
Yeah. He's kind of cute.
Yeah. Well, they do that, and they're about to devolve Mario, and they knock Koopa down and strap him into the chair and devolve him, and they run away.
Mm-hmm.
And to let you know that shit's going down is that Koopa his eye kind of transforms into a lizard a little bit after he gets out of the chair.
Yeah, his head stays the same.
Yeah, I guess they didn't devolve him very much. Big chase scene. They get out. Mario and Luigi, they like grab onto this like platform and swing their way out, and everybody's cheering them on. They're like, "Woo, get out of here! Save yourself!"
And they steal a cop car, because what else are you going to do?
Yeah. Steal a cop car, big chase scene. Cops' cars are blowing up and shit. Mario and Luigi like crash their car on top of another one, and they're like riding along as this car is driving. And and we keep getting hints of this fungus meaning something because like
Oh, yeah.
it keeps trying to give Luigi stuff, like tries to give him a bomb.
Yeah, and he keeps telling Mario, like, Mario, I think he's trying to give me something.
I think this fungus is trying to help us, Mario.
And Mario's like, shut the fuck up.
It's fucking fungus.
You don't know what you're talking about.
You're gonna get a disease if you touch that shit. But yeah, it's a few times tried to give him what they call in the Mario games bombs, like bombs. And yeah, he's like, Mario, look, it's trying to help. He's like, no, don't you dare touch that.
Don't you touch it.
But Mario and Luigi finally escape the cops, and they're driving in this like tunnel, which turns out to be into like a wasteland. They drive off a gigantic cliff, which, talk about the fungus saving them. It kind of saves them like it's a bungee cord, like stops the cop car from crashing into the ground.
Yeah.
And Luigi here again, he's like, did you see that, Mario? The fungus just shaved us. And he's like, what are you talking about, Luigi? My driving saved us. I'm an awesome driver.
As they're just hanging in the air.
Yeah. So, Koopa is so damn pissed off that they got away, and he is so mad that his cousins are so stupid that he evolves them to be super smart.
Mm-hmm.
Which doesn't work out for him because, they become so smart that they realize that Koopa later on is not great, and they don't want to be with him.
Yeah, exactly. That's, like, you can either have dumb people that follow you, but they never do anything right, or really smart people that will end up being like, oh, you're an asshole. I'm out of here.
Yeah. He's like, oh, I shouldn't have evolved them here. Koopa goes, well, cousins, you got to go find him now. And the cousins are like, what's in it for us now? And he's like, why would we want to go help and find the Mario Brothers for you? And he's like, do it, or I will kill you myself. And they're like, oh, okay.
Well, that's motivation.
That's
you.
Fair. We cut to the Mario Brothers in the desert wasteland now. They are, super thirsty, lost as shit, and the cousins, like, stumble upon them right away.
Mm-hmm.
They crash their car into, like, mud, trying to find the Mario Brothers, and the Mario Brothers tie them up. And they get their information from them. They're like, what's going on here? What's this script about? And they're like, well, I'm not sure what this day's script says, but here's the pages we got from yesterday. And basically is we need to find that rock. It's a piece of a meteorite that crashed and created this dimension 65 million years ago.
Weird.
And legend says that if you return the piece of the meteorite to the original place of where it crashed, the two dimensions will finally merge into one again. I guess they must just know that Bertha, the lady who stole the rock the last time, is like at this club or something, because they just immediately decide to go here now.
Yeah, the two, Spike and Iggy Koopa, knew
who she was.
Yeah, that she works at this place. Or
yeah, okay. Yeah, because they're like, well, we'll help you if you help us. Because they were like, look, we'll give you the rock if you give us Daisy. We'll help you find it. And the cousins are like, well, that sounds fine. Yes, we'll do that. Yes, sir. Quite indubitably. And they go to this club, and there's this weird line because Mario and Luigi are wearing like red and yellow suits now.
Yeah.
And Mario's like, where the hell did you get these suits? And one of the cousins is like, well, they belong to my ex-wife.
Yeah. I mean, they look very Western-y, as a stylish Western.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Here's the smartest thing that Mario does in this movie is plumbers are being arrested everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
They go to this club and they check their plumbing tools with the coat check lady, who, when she checks them, she looks on the poster, and there's a poster there of, Mario and Luigi wanted, and he immediately calls the police on them.
Yeah. Yeah, real smart.
Super smart. They're not the super smart brothers.
Mm-mm.
John Leguizamo stated that all of the dancers in this scene were strippers that were hired to do it.
Oh, wow.
No nudity here, but they were apparently strippers that they just hired as extras to dance around in the back.
Holy cow. There is somebody that they say is a prostitute.
Oh, wow.
She played a prostitute. She was not an actual prostitute. It's just kind of weird.
Oh, shit. Well, Mario and Luigi do see Bertha. She's dancing around and she got that rock hanging around her neck, plunging into her titties.
Yeah.
It just made me laugh because this necklace is so big. It's just, yeah.
It fit very nicely, I thought.
Yeah, it's like a key.
That's a perfect necklace for her.
A key into the cleavage.
It goes right there.
But they were like, oh, God, what are we going to do? How are we going to get it? And Mario's like, he's like, I'm the sexiest man alive. I can get it. And he's like, I haven't ever met a woman I can't get into bed.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, Mario does dance with her and somehow lifts this rock off of her. It's funny, she does punch him, like, when they first meet. And he comes back up to her and he's like, that got me so hard. I was wondering, could you do it again?
Like, I really, really love how your knuckles hit my face.
Yeah, and she's like, ooh. And so they start dancing sexually.
Because she's got, like, this red dress with spikes on it. I mean, she looks like a badass. I wouldn't want to mess with her.
Well, I even told you, I was like, how are you supposed to hold the woman? Because, like, the spikes are coming out of the dress. There's no way you could, like, slow dance or get close to her.
That's kind of probably the point, that you're going to have a little pain because she likes to inflict pain.
I guess. Yeah, probably
yeah.
so. Mario does lift the necklace off of her, and they are escaping, and all the cops come in. And I think it's before this scene, but Koopa has now finally decided to give the cops, like, de-evolution guns. He's like, oh, these guns are being distributed amongst all the police for when we find these plumbers. And trivia is that these guns are just the accessory called the Super Scope that you could use with the Super Nintendo. They just repainted it and made them look like, they were like, these are de-evolution guns.
Oh, dear Lord.
And I didn't mention earlier, but these boots, the Super Jump boots, they were reused again in the Face Off movie. They are the magnetic boots that keep you stuck to the floor in Face Off in the prison.
Damn.
It's the same boots.
Wow.
He was like, oh, this is a super prison and you will never get out of here because of these boots. They track you and keep you magnetically stuck to the floor. And it's just the Super Mario boots.
I wonder if they got any money. They're like, this is the only way we're going to make money off this is if we sell all of our props.
Maybe, or if they're just like, okay, go to the prop closet in the studio and see what we found. And they open up a door and like dust falls out and it's just all these boots and stuff from Super Mario Brothers.
I think we could work with this.
Or the third option is they were like, do you have anything we could take and not pay for, or anything that's cheap? And he's like, please take these Mario Brothers. Take these props. They're tossing this rock around while the cops are trying to get him. Wouldn't you know it, Bertha helps him out.
Yeah.
Yeah, she takes him into a room and lets him get out lets him get jump boots, and they jump out onto the roof.
Yeah, not before she smacks a kiss on him.
Yeah, she gets a little kiss on Mario, like, we'll finish this later. The brothers escape from the club by jumping into a garbage truck, but yeah, another plot that we really haven't talked about is that Daisy is kind of in a burned out World Trade Center. That's where Koopa's office is. It's like destroyed in this parallel universe.
Right.
Little did they know. But Koopa has like a girlfriend / possible wife.
I don't know what the hell she is.
She's played by Fiona Shaw. She's been in a ton.
Lena?
She has wild ass hair. Her hair is like shocking, like Marge Simpson kind of hair almost.
Yeah, at some points. She kind of has different styles, but she seems to want to be his right-hand person.
Yeah.
But he is too full of himself to have anybody.
Yeah, he's more concerned about taking over the real world than to be like, oh, we'll be partners in this. But there are scenes where like Daisy is brought in and we see Fiona Shaw like talk to her. Like the first time Fiona Shaw meets Daisy is she goes into the room where all the missing women are, and
Yeah.
Daisy's in there, and Fiona Shaw's like, "One of you is the princess." She's like, "Who is it?" And they're all like, "Who is the princess? Who's the princess?" And Fiona Shaw like realizes that it's Daisy,
Mm-hmm.
and she's like, "You look just like your mother."
Yeah. And that's where the prostitute is, which I think is derogatory now. And I apologize. I don't know what the correct term is.
Yeah, it's a bunch of women from Manhattan and Brooklyn and stuff. So yeah, so Daisy, they bring her into this room, and Fiona Shaw kind of tells her like, "Oh, your father, he's still." She's like, "Is my father still alive?" And she's like, "Kinda." I mean, you probably don't want to see him.
Depends on what you mean by alive.
Yeah. And she's like, "Your mother, she died. Your father's still around somewhere." And she's like, "Koopa is gonna, come in here and talk to you and stuff." And while Daisy is waiting, we see Yoshi, who is not a lovable green looking dinosaur, but a monstrous velociraptor.
He's just like a mini dinosaur. I mean, he's cute, but he's not like
Lovable like Yoshi.
cuddly. Yeah, you wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Yoshi in the game, and you're like, "Oh, he's like your friend." And I always hated it when you got knocked off of him or he died.
Yeah, and he ran off. I'm
Yeah.
like, no, come back.
Like Yoshi.
We try to run after you.
This, you're like, put it down.
Yeah, you're like, oh, you're a little. Like you can just tell like that his texture is rough.
Yeah.
It's not soft. I mean, it's scaly because dinosaur, but still, it's just not inviting.
Yeah, and he's chained up this whole time.
Yeah,
He's like chained to the ground.
poor guy.
At some point, Dennis Hopper does show Daisy her dad. He takes her into a room, and there's like this gigantic fungus hanging from the ceiling. And when it drops down, it's like this big ball of fungus. And he's like, "Meet your father." And she's like, "Dad?" And this like turd drops out of this big anus of fungus.
And it oozes a little.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And she's like, "Hi, Dad." Not like, not throwing up immediately.
Like, okay.
Because when Koopa comes in at some point, that turd gets sucked right back up into the anus. Like, "I can't poop here anymore. Oh, I gotta save it."
Gotta hold it in.
Yeah, it's like. But basically, yeah, what Koopa did is when he took over, he put her dad in the de-evolution chair and devolved him in so far back that he's slime. He's now fungus.
So weird.
Yeah. And it's disgusting.
Yeah.
So that's where we are with Daisy, what she's kind of been doing. So Mario at this point and Luigi, now that they've got the rock, they are going to save Daisy at Koopa's castle, his big complex.
Mm-hmm.
So they ride the garbage truck all the way to Koopa's place. They take out the guards in the bottom, and he's like, "Hey, look at this. This place is like just a big old pipe, big plumbing." He's like, "These are for heat. Let's turn it off, and we'll turn it all the way down and make it freezing in here."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Why?" And he's like, "Well, I don't know. I just got these script pages today.
What do
script
you want from me?
The script just says do it. I don't know."
Nothing makes sense.
And they're like, "Well, we can't be wearing this red and yellow outfit anymore. So, let's open up these lockers right here for these workers in the plumbing and get here. Oh, what's that? Oh, it's our uniforms from the game." Except Luigi doesn't have like a hat. He's got like a baseball cap turned backwards because he's cool.
Oh, yeah.
But again, I really think that Bob Hoskins is good in this. He does definitely look like Mario with the mustache.
He does.
I guess Danny DeVito was thought about for a while when this was first started.
I could see that.
Just think of Frank Reynolds from It's Always Sunny as... And Tom Hanks was also at some point thought about as Luigi.
Okay.
And, they didn't think that he was a big enough actor because Turner and Hooch had come out and it failed at the box office, and Joe versus the Volcano came out and failed at the box office. So they were like, "Tom Hanks, that guy will never be a big actor."
Oh. Oh, little did you know.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
But
Tom Hanks is probably like, whew, dodge that one.
thank God. I'm sure Danny DeVito is too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, the Mario brothers are going through this place. There's this scene where they are like in an there's like a 20-minute scene here where they are in an elevator.
Yeah, this elevator's slow as fuck.
Yeah. And wouldn't you know it, some Goombas come in and they are so big that they can't see the Mario Brothers behind them. And it's just like, you cut back to this scene and it's like the Mario Brothers, more and more Goombas. The Mario Brothers are trying to hide. The way that they get around it is Luigi's like, oh, wait, Mario, I got an idea. And he makes one start dancing and then they all start dancing.
Yeah, just kind of swaying back and forth and to the elevator music.
Yeah, and they escape. They climb out of the top to get out because they're in a big elevator shaft later. But it's so funny because when the elevator gets to the top and Koopa opens up the door, it's just Koopa, the Goombas are like dancing hand in hand with each other.
Yeah.
Like they're waltzing and stuff. And he's just like, the fuck is going on here?
What is happening?
But Spike and Iggy at this point have come back in, and they are the ones that take Daisy to her dad. They're like, oh, we're here to help you and help you get out and here's your father. I'm sorry, it looks like an anus. And we see Mojo Nixon, Toad Goomba, again here. He keeps trying to help Daisy. He brings her a bunch of meat. And she's like, I'm a vegetarian. Can I get some steamed vegetables? And he's like, oh, okay. And we later in a minute see her trying to escape, and he brings her some steamed vegetables.
Yeah, she passes him like in the hall, and he's got some vegetables. I'm like, that's nice.
He's super funny and
super sweet guy.
So the Mario Brothers are in this elevator shaft, and they're like, well, what the hell are we going to do? And they're like, well, we have to get to the other side of the shaft. We're going to have to jump. And one thing we haven't said is that throughout this entire movie, Luigi's like, I got a feeling about this.
Oh, yes.
He keeps having like these feelings about, oh, it should be the right way. And, earlier he's like, oh, I got a feeling this will be the right way to get to the plumbing job. And they get there late.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like, I'm going to jump. I've got a feeling, Mario. And he jumps. And Mario, like, covers his eyes, but then he opens them, and Luigi is, like, hovering in midair.
Yeah, and then he's like, come on, Mario, you gotta do it too.
Yeah, he's like, I'm flying, Mario. And, yeah, as soon as Mario is like, okay, fuck it, he jumps, Luigi's like, wait a second. What's this feeling on the back of my pants? Oh, it's a hook that I've somehow jumped onto that's holding me up in midair.
Exactly, just right. And then he even says, no, it was a joke. But I'm like, you told him like 5 times.
Yeah, he's like, it's okay, Mario. It's fine. Jump. Nothing's going to happen to you. Jump, you pussy.
That's basically what it was. So then he's like, okay. And Luigi's like, oh no, just kidding. Shit.
Yeah, well, thankfully, this fungus saves him again. It makes like a little kind of like a trampoline type thing and bounces Mario back up.
Yeah.
And they swing over to the other side of the elevator shaft finally.
Goodness, that was kind of stupid. They could have cut that whole thing out. That's so stupid.
Yeah, it was pretty dumb. We do get some more Fiona Shaw character here where she's trying to get like Daisy, and she was like, we could do this together if you just give me the meteorite. And we get some more Fiona Shaw where she's really trying to talk to Koopa and becoming his like number 2 or his wife and into this and something. And he's all like, the fuck are you talking about? I've got way too much going on to have a wife right now.
Yeah.
And so he leaves and she goes, well, if not with you, then on my own.
Mm-hmm.
This is where Daisy is trying to get out. But Fiona Shaw comes to Daisy like she's about to try and kill her because she's like, fuck you, we don't need you. And you get the feeling that she thinks Koopa has like a thing for her almost because he's always like, I need the girl.
Yeah.
But as she's about to try and kill Daisy, Yoshi pops out and uses his tongue to like trip her up.
Yeah,
like in the game, he uses his tongue.
Yeah, it wrapped around her ankle and pulled her down. Yeah.
Which, you want to talk about abuse that this thing takes in the game. I always imagined it that Mario was hitting Yoshi's head to make him activate his tongue.
Exactly.
He's like, open your fucking mouth.
A punch in the head.
But Yoshi saves her, and in return, Fiona Shaw stabs Yoshi in the side of the neck with a dagger.
Ooh, yeah.
She runs off, and Daisy escapes. So this is where the brothers and Daisy meet back up here. So to make up for like the, in the game, you could get the flower that would let you throw fireballs. I think they make up for that in this because the Goombas have these like guns that shoot flame out of them, like flamethrowers.
Okay, yeah.
Because in this scene, as Daisy is trying to escape, she runs into a bunch of Goombas, and one of them being Mojo Nixon, who's bringing her the fresh vegetables.
Yeah.
And the Goombas light him up with these flamethrower guns.
Yeah, and she's like, oh my gosh. I hope he's okay, but they can't really go back to help him because they gotta escape.
Yeah, well, Spike and Iggy right here, they find him or they find her, and they're like, "We've got to get the fuck out of here." And she's like, "We've got to help him," and she puts him out with like a fire extinguisher that's just right there.
That's right. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
And this is where they take her to her father, and she meets the big turd, and Mario and Luigi meet up with her here too, and they're like, "We found you," and she goes, "This is my father."
Well, she gets on some kind of speaker thing,
Oh,
and that's how they find her.
yeah, she's like, "Oh, come here, come here," and they meet up together here. Yeah, but it's so funny because she's like, "I'd like you to meet my father," and this turd is like poking out like it's about to turtle head here a little bit. She's like, "Come on, it's okay." He's like, What the fuck were they thinking with this design? It's so terrible.
Don't know.
Mushroom Kingdom. Let's make it look as bad as possible, and it looks like shit, literally.
I mean, I think they could have done something different.
Yeah, and in case you were wondering where Koopa was during this whole time, he is ordering a pizza.
Oh, right. Yeah, because that's important in this movie.
Yeah, because and it's so interesting. The technology in this world is like they have computer screens, and I guess at the time we didn't think that you'd be able to touch computer screens because to use them, you have to pull this gun out of like a holster and point it and like shoot at what you want on the screen.
So futuristic.
Yeah, no one saw that coming that you'd just be able to touch it. But yeah, Koopa's ordering his pizza with the gun on the screen, and the guy's like, "What can I get for you, sir?" And he's like, "I would like the Koopa special." He's like, "You want pterodactyl tail on that?" And he's like, "Yes, please, with Tyrannosaurus bone and spice or whatever." It's all this shit. And there's a running joke about that here where they're in the middle of battle later, and he's like, "Sir, your pizza's here."
Yeah. Okay.
Which, spoiler alert, when Koopa gets defeated and turned into a big pile of slime at the end, there was supposed to be a joke where the pizza tries to deliver to the pile of slime. So, "Here's your pizza, sir."
That's funny.
Yeah. So, back in the fungus area here, Daisy's like, "Oh, the other girls, we got to break them out." And she's like, Your girlfriend's here, Mario." And he's like, "Oh my God." He's like, "We got to save them."
Yeah.
And so he immediately goes to save the other girls because, Daisy tells him where they're at. Luigi and Daisy are going to try and escape.
Yeah, and they go in the room with all these ladies, and they're different types of ladies, if you want to say. There's some that have like spandex on, like they've been working out.
Yeah.
It's like the 80s spandex.
Well, that's what I said to you too, is because Mario's girlfriend here is in like a nightie. Like kind of like a lingerie almost. And when she was kidnapped, Mario had just dropped her off from dinner, and she got kidnapped before she could even get into her apartment. And I'm like, so did they put her in like this kind of sexy looking nightie type clothes here? Like, why?
I didn't notice that. But there's one lady that chain smokes. I don't even know where she gets the cigarettes from.
In here, yeah, for sure. But yeah, it's so stupid too because Mario is climbing out of a grate in the top of this room, and he's like overhead, and there's Goombas in there with him, and there's one Goomba that's just coloring a dinosaur for some reason.
Yeah.
But Mario's girlfriend sees him on the top there, and he's like, "Shh," and his girlfriend tries to like tell all the other girls here that it's like, "Look, Mario's here. We're gonna get out. Be ready to go." And she's like, to this one girl, she's like, "Mario's up there," and this girl goes, "Hey, Mario!"
Oh my God.
And yeah, Mario has to beat up the Goombas here now. Because they've all got Mario and Luigi have the jump boots on, which you would think would be super hard to run in. But Mario, beats the Koopa.
It's just, they use a mattress to slide, and it's just, I didn't like it.
So Mario and the girls, they slide down this big-ass pipe. And it's all, I think it may even have like surf music here too. It's like, boom, 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 and like, whoa. And it's, of course, there's two Goombas on a mattress behind them sliding down. Mario ducks. They all duck down and avoid like icicles, and the Goombas get hit by them. As they pass by like a little hole in the ground, Mario puts a wrench in it so that when the Goombas come by, their mattress hits it and they flip.
Yeah.
And Mario's like, hey! And they fly out of this hole. out onto the street. And while this was happening, though, Daisy and Luigi are like, all right, we've got to get out of here. Let's go. And they immediately run into Koopa and his guys.
Yeah. Oh, damn.
What got Koopa so angry here is that the cops call Koopa here, and he's like, what's going on? And like, we gave all the de-evolution guns to the cops. And he's like, who the hell told you to do that? And he's like, Lena did. And he's like, Lena. And he realizes that Lena is going to betray him.
Mm-hmm.
There is a scene where Fiona Shaw is about to escape, and these cops get her and knock her out. So Daisy, Luigi are being held captive by like the Goombas here on the street for some reason because they're trying to find Fiona Shaw. And this is where we meet up together. Mario and the women burst out of this pipe onto the street and knock over all the Goombas, freeing Luigi and Daisy.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so Koopa has Fiona Shaw. He takes the rock from her. And this is where Mario and Luigi are like, look, save the girls, get them out of here, take them back home. I'll get the rock and then, defeat Koopa and we'll be fine. And, Koopa and Mario start fighting. He beats him up with like a one of the hover boot type things. He like keeps using it and shoving him. And Koopa falls into a big old vat that's in the middle of these like walkways here, which is exactly what he looks like he was flying in at the end of Super Mario Brothers. He's in that big like hover thing, and it's got like a little propeller on the bottom of it that you had to avoid.
Yeah.
Mario knocks the rock out of Koopa's hand here, and Fiona Shaw does catch it.
Yeah.
But she gets like electrocuted, falling on like a bunch of electrical lines.
Yeah, this is where her hair starts standing on end.
Yeah, it like goes white in some spots, I think, too. Fiona Shaw does get up, though, and runs towards the portal where they first came in to put the rock into the portal.
Yeah, she's not wasting any time.
Yeah, she's like, oh, I will be the evil queen. Koopa doesn't know that, though, because Mario finds some wire that looks exactly like the necklace twine and makes it look like he's holding the rock.
Yeah,
and he's
distracting.
like, he's like, I got the rock here. You're going to have to take it from me. So Fiona Shaw does finally get into the spot where the meteorite hit. It's like right where the portal can open. She does force the rock into the little hole into the meteorite to merge the dimensions finally.
Yeah.
And, if kids were at this movie, this is pretty fucked up too, because she immediately gets electrocuted and knocked back and is like a gigantic skeleton in this rock.
Yep. I
was like, that's kind of fucked up.
And Luigi has the corny line of saying, she sure does leave an impression.
Whoa! Ba-dum-bum-bum. King Koopa does realize here that Mario does not have the rock, and he's about to kill him, and then dimensions start merging.
Yeah, because Daisy and Luigi is trying to remove the rock, but Mario also finds one of those tiny bombs in the fungus, and he pulls it out, and then everybody's all like, "Oh my god,
it's a ba-bomb!" And this is such a funny line from Koopa. He goes, "Ba-bomb." But yeah, he winds it up, and everyone's like, oh my god, and he sets it down, and the thing's like walking like a wind-up toy.
Yeah.
And it falls off the platform, and they're like, huh, fuck you. Like, you thought that was going to work, and look at what happened again.
Yeah, this ain't going to do shit.
But yeah, they do merge dimensions now, and like Koopa and Mario disintegrate, and we are back now at the construction site where there's like news cameras and stuff talking about like missing girls and stuff, and you want to talk about doesn't age well here. We get a shot of, the girls, Mario's girlfriend and everybody has finally gotten through, and it's so fucking funny because Mario's like, when you get through, tell the cops about this other dimension. And I'm like, what? They're never going to believe that.
They're going to think you're on crack.
Yeah, so unfortunately, when the dimensions merge, Mario's girlfriend's like, look! And we see the World Trade Centers, and they start disintegrating, like falling down.
Oh, man.
And you're like, it doesn't age well.
That makes my stomach hurt.
But Mario shows up, and Koopa and his Goombas show up as well. And I guess apparently in a script that was, script number 304, Mario was supposed to fight Evil Koopa in New York here. But Scapelli shows up, and he's like, yo, what the fuck's going on here? And Koopa de-evolves him into a monkey.
Yeah, which again could have been left out.
And it is so funny too, because these people that are standing around here, like the news and all the spectators, they think this is the funniest thing. They see Scapelli as a monkey in a suit, and they're like, oh, like, oh my God.
That's so funny. I'm not worried at all.
Like, we're not freaking out that this man has a gun that can do that to everybody, or look at those gigantic 10-foot or lizards right there, these Goombas.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone just thinks it is so goddamn cute that this man got turned into a monkey.
That's scary.
Back by the portal, though, Luigi does get like a plumbing tool here, and I guess this tool may be used for fishing turds out of pipes or something, because it drills into the piece of meteorite, and then he can like back it out, and he pulls the piece out.
Okay.
I don't know what this tool was, but
there's a lot.
But yeah, he pulls the piece of meteorite, and the dimensions stop merging, and everyone goes back to where they were.
Phew.
The World Trade Center is safe for now.
One thing I thought that was weird when everything merged back, that Mario even went back.
Yeah, you were like, wait, he's from New York. Why would he go back to the other dimension?
Right.
I don't know. They have to go back through the portal or something. But they all come back, and Mojo Nixon's Goomba shows up with the Nintendo guns and gives them to Mario and Luigi. And they start fighting Koopa here, and Koopa's shooting this fireball like he got the flower in the game. He's shooting the fireball gun at him. They eventually shoot him with the de-evolution gun, and he falls back into like that big vat that he was in earlier. And it's like a little second like, oh, what's gonna happen? Oh no, did we get him? And this big fake looking T-Rex puppet comes out.
So awful.
Yeah, it looks bad, and they shoot him even more, and he turns into a big old puddle of slime.
Yeah.
They turned him into primordial ooze.
And then everyone cheers.
Yeah, and one thing, that they do it a couple of times here, but like Mario and Luigi, when they do something cool, they like interlock their fingers together and they go glug, 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 glug.
Mm-hmm.
So they do that after beating Bowser. And this is where they jump down from the rafters in the city here on their boots, and they're both like hugging each other in the boots, and Luigi's giving like a peace sign, like, we did it! Like not even having any kind of force of gravity that they are in motion right now.
Nope.
So we cut to, it's like the end of Stargate. James Spader is like, oh, I can't go with you. It's exactly like the end. I think Stargate came out after the end of this. But
oh, really?
After this. But yeah, they're all like, well, let's go. And Daisy's like, I can't. Because what happened when they defeated Koopa, for some reason, her dad turned back into the king.
Yeah, they didn't like evolve him or anything. You just like
Immediately.
magically.
Yeah, and it's Lance Hendrickson, which you're just like, what the fuck are you doing in
Yeah.
here? You were in Aliens, sir. Why were you ever in this movie for like 2 seconds?
What are you thinking? Which probably was like 5 weeks.
Yeah. Because when he turns back into the king, he spits out some fungus, which apparently in the trivia was his idea. It's like, wouldn't it be hilarious if I spit some fungus out when I turn back into a human?
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah, everybody was so intimidated by him. They were like, sure, because he comes off, I'm sure he's a nice man, but he comes off as very intimidating. Because in Aliens, when they had to make a puppet of him, when he's a robot and he gets cut in two, he was like, they made a puppet of me, and they were like, oh, we'll get the hair. And he goes, no, I know how to do my hair. And he did his own puppet hair. He's like, yeah, I've been doing my hair for 40 years.
Oh, man.
Like, sure, yes, sir. But she's like, back at the portal, she's like, I can't come. I've got to help get the kingdom back on its feet, and my dad's alive, and I really want to get to know him.
Right.
Luigi's like, do you know how I feel about you, right? She's like, I'm sure we'll meet again in the sequel. That will definitely happen.
And they kiss.
Yeah, they do.
So
And
there's that.
And they all go back, and we cut to like a month later or something, I think.
3 weeks.
3 weeks. Almost a month later.
Almost a month. Not quite. It's 3 weeks.
Yeah, and Mario and Luigi are at his girlfriend's house getting ready to have like a nice dinner. Getting to have some pasta with a nice gravy.
Oh, yeah.
And, Luigi's all hangdog, and Mario's like, it's been 3 weeks. Are you still upset about that girl? Get over it.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like how my dad told me, like a week after we had to put my cat down. My dad's like, it's been a week. And I'm like, yeah, I'm still upset about it. Which my dad's a very loving man. I was just shocked by that.
Right.
Wouldn't you know it? Daisy bursts through the door with guns, and
No.
like, Daisy! She's like, I need your help. I'm like, what's the problem? She's like, you're not gonna believe this. And he goes, I believe.
Oh, yeah, I believe.
Yeah. And there you go. Which, you're not gonna believe this, is a big setup, big funny kind of premise of like, oh, there's a big movie. There's an Independence Day 2 when, they have kind of a same line like that where they were like, we are aliens and need your help. And like, this is gonna be a crazy ride. Just kind of like a big sequel setup. It's been done so many times. But so you're like, oh, thank God, the movie's over. And I'm like, I remember something here at the credits, and it is Spike and Iggy are now living in New York, and they're pitching the idea of the story of the movie to some Japanese businessmen, and they're like, what's the name of this game? The Koopa Cousins.
Iggy's World.
Yeah. How about the Koopa Cousins? And thank God that's it.
Yeah.
So I didn't like this movie. I didn't even really like talking about it.
Really?
It sucks.
I thought you were going to love it.
This movie?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I'm kidding. Yeah, I mean, I wish some of the acting was okay, but getting a little bit of the background or, everything's changing every day, I can understand
Yeah.
that maybe the acting is not on par because they had to go off the fly. Like, how can they practice if you just get, like, the script the day of or even close to the day of? So that kind of makes things a little bit more into perspective. But yeah, it was just okay. I remember liking it as a kid because,
Same here.
it's just, I don't really take in consideration of all the little details. But now I'm like, it does not hold up.
Yeah. No, we were struggling. Like I said, we were really. I had my head in my hand at one point, just like Jesus.
So thank you again, everyone, for listening. If you've enjoyed this episode, please help us spread the word by telling a friend or rating us on your favorite platform. If you give us a 5 stars on iTunes, leave your name and where you're from, and we'll give you a shout out on our next episode. If you can't tell, that hasn't happened yet. So you be the first. Go do it. You right there listening. Go to iTunes, leave a good 5 star, where you're from, your name. We'll love to shout you out. You can also follow us on Facebook or Instagram. And if you want to, you can email us at thefilmobsessedcouple@gmail.com. Thank you so much.
Okay, so next week we'll be diving into superhero territory with Batman and Robin.
All right.
I haven't seen this movie in forever. I remember liking it as a kid, much like this movie. But it's considered the worst, almost killed Batman movies for a while. Mm-hmm. It did, until Batman Begins came and saved it. But George Clooney as Batman, Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze. I think that'll be a fun one to talk about.
Absolutely.
So till next time.
Bye-bye.